Hello everyone, I am Nicole Morris, a University of Arizona Global Campus doctoral student researching the biological basis of behavior. In this presentation, we will cover some critical neurological symptomologies of ADHD, biopsychology viewpoints, history, nervous system dysregulation, application to life, and cultural components. ADHD is often misdiagnosed, resulting in unnecessary medication. Therefore, it is essential to understand what ADHD is and what it is not. Notating the biological differences can help factor in essential characteristics of ADHD, such as those with ADHD have neurodivergent brains versus people without ADHD have what's known as neurotypical. The target audience is directed towards parents, medical professionals, and educators so they can avoid preventable treatment and irreversible side effects derived from harmful pharmaceuticals. The reason for specific target audience is to educate. More often than not, parents, educators, and medical professionals make wrongful misdiagnoses. Unfortunately, the wrong prognosis is too quick based on only a few symptomologies, such as hyperactive or inability to focus. Many children cannot sit still due to the nature of uninteresting classrooms. So we must ensure that we are diagnosing children and individuals correctly, as people, it's not natural for people to sit for long periods of time. The more educated people are regarding the fundamentals of ADHD, harmful misdiagnoses can be avoided in the future. Some of the signs of neurodivergent brain to be mindful of is clumsiness, which those with ADHD struggle with even into adulthood. Emotional dysregulation falls under the scope of neurodivergence, of processing sensory information. ADHD is not curable, only symptoms can be managed organically, holistically, and medicinally. Choose what method is suitable for you and your family, your loved ones. Research thoroughly all the possibilities. Counseling and behavior counseling is also a good plan. The list of ADHD symptomology is congruent with neurodivergent. It applies to other prognoses as well, such as autism, as they have similarities depending on the spectrum, but they're not the same, but they can look similar. So professionals need to ensure they rule out the correct diagnoses per individual. Some of the things to watch out for and to be mindfully attentive of is communication issues, social interaction difficulties, becoming overwhelmed by sensory information. That can be physical touch, too much going on. They also struggle with forgetfulness, excessive talking, interrupting others at appropriate times, blurting out information, and the inability to organize and prioritize. Fundamentally, individuals can have more than one diagnosis, as ADHD has comorbidities such as autism and vice versa. People with autism can also have ADHD. As those diagnosed with disorders, comorbidities can include depression, anxiety disorders, bipolar disorder, personality disorders, and RSD, which is rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Identifying ADHD is crucial so that individuals facing challenges can get help at school, work, and home. Those with ADHD struggle in many areas personally, such as relationships. If ADHD is identified, those close to the individual can help, not personalize, which leads to interpersonal effectiveness. Biopsychological viewpoint emphasizes human behaviors associated with factors such as genetics and the brain that can influence individuals psychologically. Raising awareness reduces stigma and helps those who are neurotypical understand what those with neurodivergence are enduring daily. Managing symptoms of ADHD is essential to those diagnosed so they can maintain healthy, meaningful relationships with those closest to them, which is really essential and really important. On to the next slide. Impacts of an unfiltered brain against external stimulus can leave individuals with ADHD highly overwhelmed. Here is a visual representation of the ideology of experienced sensory overload. Ongoing research is being conducted on ADHD and sensory overload with a focus on identifying the most prevalent triggers. Among these triggers, touch plays a significant role as it can lead to sensory overload when it is either too light, firm, or sudden. That's why some individuals with ADHD do not like being touched, hugged, as it can be an overwhelming stimulus. A biological, psychological facet of ADHD to consider is that brain development is essentially slower because neural pathways are not generating at the same rate of normative executive functioning. This does not mean those with ADHD are intellectually slow. In fact, many ADHD individuals I know are incredibly intelligent humans with much to offer the world. ADHD was initially discovered in patients in 1798, so it has been around for a lengthy period of time for researchers to study and observe. Important factors to consider are medication is not always the answer. There's a plethora of treatment options available, like I said before, that are organic, holistic, and so on. You have to research and do what's right for you as an individual. A question to consider is, what are the consequences of untreated ADHD? Meaning, treatment plans don't always involve medication, so self-awareness, even if you decide to treat by doing nothing, can promote healthy self-awareness, so that way the person with the ADHD can be mindful. If ADHD is not treated, however, it can result in difficulties concerning productivity, interpersonal relationships, and additional mental health issues. Neglected ADHD in adults can also give rise to challenges related to anxiety, depression, and substance abuse. Some things to watch out for. The brain regions primarily affected are the prefrontal cortex, the limbic system, the basal ganglia, and the reticular activating system. The prefrontal cortex of ADHD patients is thought to have pyramidal neurons that are out of sync, resulting in underactive, overactive, or both. Specific dysfunctional regions in the prefrontal cortex are believed to play a role in causing many of the symptoms associated with ADHD. The involvement of the limbic structures in the development of attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD, is supported by the occurrence of mood and cognitive disruptions in individuals affected by the disorder. The local decrease in the volume across the limbic, associative, and sensomotor regions of the basal ganglia nuclei could potentially correlate with the diverse symptoms observed in individuals with ADHD. These symptoms encompass inappropriate behaviors for the given context, difficulties in working memory, and compromised motor control. The brain reticular activating system, RAS, plays a crucial role in controlling arousal and the sleep-wake cycle. However, in individuals with ADHD, the RAS is not properly regulated, leading to circadian cycles that lean towards increased activity levels during the evening. Consequently, this dysregulation caused delayed bedtimes and waking times. ADHD affects both the central nervous system, CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, PNS, thus resulting in awkward motor movements that result in clumsiness. When someone with ADHD becomes overwhelmed, they can experience temporary paralysis or behavioral experiences in emotional dysregulation, which oftentimes can look like a tantrum. The ADHD nervous system never shuts down to get adequate rest. Thus, neural circuitry throughout the body constantly engages. This can make those with ADHD find it hard to rest. And when they do, they always feel extremely tired and burn out, even when they shouldn't be. Those with ADHD genetically inherited the disorder as it runs in families. 80% of those with ADHD, it has been genetic. Chemical imbalances are related as those with ADHD have lower levels of dopamine and norepinephrine, which are responsible for inattention and impulsivity. Individuals with ADHD struggle with interpersonal relationships at work and personally due to being highly misunderstood. Being misunderstood and lacking critical social skills can cause heightened amounts of anxiety and depressions in someone with ADHD, which can lead to self-isolation. And isolation can be a result also of the needing to unwind from overstimulation. A vital note to regard helping those with ADHD is not to personalize their behavior, as they cannot help the patterns of dysregulation. Adults with ADHD can sometimes lack an abundance of resources they may have relied on during their school years, leaving them feeling vulnerable, confused, and lost in their new environment. It may cause loss of jobs and additional struggles. Remember, no two individuals are the same, and exceptional few can maintain and hold great careers. However, self-aware individuals can inform their place of employment and seek resources such as therapy and treatment, whether organic or medicinal. Females usually go under the diagnostic radar, meaning they go untreated early on due to displaying different ADHD symptomologies than males. Adults can also display different symptomologies other than their children counterparts. That way, it's crucial to know how the symptomologies can affect individuals with ADD in their personal life. On the right side here, we see a list of how their symptoms can have an impact that's detrimental to themselves personally and professionally. If you would like to pause and read over them, you are more than welcome to do so at this time. Thank you. Now on to the next slide. Adults who do not have access to viable resources in adulthood is due to the fact they were not diagnosed as children and possibly aware that they even have an ADHD diagnosis, resulting in prognosis as being ignored. If an adult is unaware of their ADHD diagnosis, they will not seek treatment and will continue to struggle because of misdiagnoses. Individuals also need to be mindful that ADHD appears differently in adults than females, which results in diagnosis under recognition. The highest groups diagnosed with ADHD were Hispanic American males, followed by European American males. However, one must remember that not everyone is appropriately diagnosed, and some individuals are diagnosed incorrectly, which skews the results. Regardless of statistics, ADHD is not biased and not discriminatory. It is considered a universal disorder that can affect anyone with fluctuating statistical variables. Interestingly, attention deficit disorder is considered a cultural construct, as not every perspective regarding the disorder is different in response to problematic behaviorism found in children. Individuals with ADHD seek stimulation and may become addicted to online gaming stimulus due to increased spikes in dopamine. Internet and phone usage are used for the same reasons: mental hits and increased chemical brain stimuli. Individuals are unaware of this addiction to dopamine as they are transfixed on the stimulated engagements, and which is mental stimuli. This presentation discussed several essential neurological symptomologies associated with ADHD, biopsychology perspectives, historical background, dysregulation on the nervous system, practical implications, and cultural aspects. One crucial aspect of ADHD is the dysregulation of nervous systems, exploring how individuals with ADHD often exhibit difficulties in regulating their attention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity levels. By examining the underlying neural mechanisms involved in these dysregulations, individuals can gain insights into the neurological source of ADHD symptoms. It is essential to recognize that the manifestation and perception of ADHD can vary across different cultures. By exploring cultural factors that influence the diagnosis, treatment, and societal attitudes towards ADHD, we can better understand how ADHD is experienced and addressed in different cultural contexts. Overall, the presentation aims to provide a comprehensive overview of essential neurological symptomologies associated with ADHD, examining the biological perspectives. Understanding aspects will enhance the audience's understanding of ADHD and promote practical approaches for diagnosing, treating, and supporting individuals with ADHD. It is imperative to end stigmas, as this slide depicts what people think those with ADD struggle with and what they in fact struggle with. The image makes it clear to understand why so many are misdiagnosed. Please pause the video, take time to view the slide. Again, feel free to pause the video and take a moment to note all the fantastic quality characteristics and traits that are beneficial to those with ADHD. It is often tempting to concentrate slowly on the adverse effects of ADHD. However, there are also advantages associated with the condition. Individuals with ADHD often express themselves as energetic, creative, brave, and adaptable. By understanding how to harness these strengths while managing symptoms, one can strive towards achieving their utmost potential irrespective of ADHD. Ultimately, by embracing and harnessing the strengths associated with ADHD, individuals can overcome the challenges and thrive in various aspects of their life. It is important to remember that ADHD does not define a person's entire identity. I want to leave the presentation on a positive note. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.